Welcome to What Are You Sporting About podcast, a podcast about business, employment, sports, and entertainment to help educate, support, and guide you to your next level. Here's your host, attorney Sivonnia DeBarros.
Hey, what's up, people? It's Sivonnia DeBarros, protector of athletes. And look, I am coming live for you outside of the apartment, out into the city of Lisboa. Guess what? I can't believe this, but today marks the 100th episode of What Are You Sporting About podcast. So look, guys, before we jump right into it, I gotta invite you to the first annual NIL Combine event. Make sure that you go and get your tickets right now because seats are really filling up. Like, I'm not just saying that as a joke. They are filling up. So go to athletesmakingmoves.com/NIL Combine so that you can get your ticket. So what I want to talk to you about today. I want to talk about worth, really understanding and knowing your worth. I did not want to create this podcast, y'all. I told you that some episodes ago, but I knew that it was necessary. It was a means to an end. It was part of my purpose and part of the reason why I even created the brand, What Are You Sporting About? Right? I knew that I needed to have a medium to share the messages that were on the inside of me, to share the information that I know other individuals need. And so, since I want to talk to you about worth, I'm going to also share with you some of the lessons that I learned along the way. And because this is the 100th episode, I wanted to take something or create something that was a little more soulful so that you can truly tap in to do what you are called to do. So one of the first lessons that I learned about worth is that it's not defined by what you believe other people think of you. Your worth is defined by your own self. Your worth is not defined by what society say that it should be, but your worth is defined by how you say it should be. So, for example, sometimes I think that we look to other people to give us accolades or say that something is going to be okay or that you've done a great job and pat you on the back and all those things, but do you really need that at the end of the day? Yeah, it's good to have it. It's good to, know that in the eyes of other people you're doing a great job, but it really is it's on a cellular level, right? If you know that you're putting in your all, if you know that you're doing your best, if you know that you're following your purpose, then that is worthy. That is worthy. So what do you need to know and see the worthiness on the inside of you? That's what is important. It's not measured by other people's ideas about how worthy they think you are, but it's about how you think you are, right? It's about how you see yourself. So if you know that you are putting in 100% all of the time, hey, you got it, right? Even if you can't see the fruits of your labor right now, it doesn't mean that they're not growing. A tree doesn't grow just in one day. It creates roots. It has to dig up through many layers of dirt, right, in order for it to even get the stalk that it needs to stand strong, and then to create branches and leaves and all those other things before fruit can even grow. So I want you to think about your worth in that in that way, right? If you are a tree, what did it take for you to grow? What does it take for you to grow? Because your worth is the leaves that hang off the tree. Your worth is the fruit that hangs off the tree. Even though other people can't see it, doesn't mean that it's not there. It doesn't mean that it's not being developed and that it's not growing. You are growing as a person. And so I really, really, really want you guys to keep this in mind. I truly want you to keep this in mind. I think I spent way too long worrying about what other people thought about me, waiting way too long in terms of, do I need someone else's permission to do something that I want to do, or to step in a room that I felt like maybe I didn't have the right to be in. Let's shatter those thoughts right now. Wherever you are meant to be there. Wherever you want to be, you're also meant to be there. One thing I had to recognize a long time ago is that my success and who I am is not measured by what society say I am. And so if I can dream of being in a place and doing a thing, then gosh darn it, I'm supposed to be there, right? So I found a sign a while ago that says, "Darling, you belong here," and it's absolutely true. You belong in those spaces. Insert yourself. You don't have to wait for someone to give you permission, right? Because when you know your worth, you know what you're supposed to do. You know where you're supposed to be. And so you can take the initiative and put yourself in the places where you know that you are meant to be and where you actually belong. All right, guys? Another thing I want to share with you on this 100th episode is that if it's scary, do it anyway. So sometimes we have to push beyond our fears and just do it anyway. I was so afraid to write the book, What Are You Sporting About? I mean, I talked to you guys about this before. I did not want to write, well, not necessarily didn't want to write the book, but I was nervous about writing the book because, okay, what are all the critics going to say? What are people going to think? You know, how are they going to criticize certain chapters or whatever issues? It's all in my head, or it was all in my head. So think about the things that may be in your head, the fears that are coming up that are keeping you from actually making the moves that you need to make to get to where you want to go, right? Fear is going to always show up, but it doesn't mean that it has to take control. It's up to you to define, okay, do I have the courage to make sure that I can move forward into my purpose and really take this thing on to a place where you know it's meant to be? Here's another thing I want you to think about. How many people are possibly sitting and waiting for you to move in your purpose so that they can have the resource that is lacking? You have a gift that no one else has. Like, your gift is so unique to you, right? And so are you doing a disservice to yourself by refusing to follow through only because you're afraid of it? If that is the case, then I want you to take a good hard look at yourself in the mirror and say, what type of servant am I being with the gifts that have been endowed to me? That's important. Had I not followed my purpose and the desire to support and educate other athletes, I would not have been to a place where I've written now 2 best-selling books all about sports and sport business, about intellectual property and business and supporting athletes and making that next move into their life and their careers. What Are You Sporting About was a move that I made even with fear. I understood that although fear may be there, I still have to move with no fear. I had to almost kind of psychologically trick myself to say, okay, no fear, there is no fear. Because I can't allow anything that does not serve me to stop me from moving and operating in my purpose. If I don't move and operate in my purpose, then that means someone else is not getting fed what they need to move and operate in theirs. So I want you to think about yours. I want you to think about what are some of the things that I'm holding on to that I'm afraid of criticism, or I'm afraid of really being successful. Like, what are those things and why? Why are you allowing that fear to keep telling you no? It's time to reorient that idea that we have to stay stuck into this place where we can't make the moves necessary to not only better our lives, but to better other people's lives who are waiting for you, so that they have the information and the resource necessary to make their next move. Okay? I'm going to leave you guys with this little nugget. It's one of my favorites, actually. If you don't follow your dreams, it will be a dream that is buried in the ground. Les Brown always talks about this. He talks about how there's so many dreams and aspirations that are in the graveyards because so many people were afraid to do what it took to get where they wanted to be, right? I heard someone say, a speaker in fact, that they wanted to be successful. They wanted to be really, really successful because they wanted to show their kids that they understood what they were talking about. And one of the examples the speaker gave was, he said, you know, there's no man that's more despised than a poor man full of wisdom. You know why? Because his children hate him. Because if you're so smart, how come we were born into this situation, right? I mean, I'm just kind of giving you an example, but think about that. We can be so smart and full of wisdom, but we can still be so stuck in a position where it's like there's shackles placed on our feet and we can't move an inch to get the success that we want. Do you want to be a despised old wise man? I don't. But your success is literally just a step over the bridge. All you got to do is start walking. Some people, all you got to do is just get up. That's all it takes sometimes, right? So I don't want you to be an old despised man. And I also don't want you to be an individual where your dreams go to die in a graveyard. Look, I'm on the 100th episode. I never even thought I would get here because I never even wanted to do a podcast, but I'm here. I'm here. It's a means to an end. It's a means for me to spread my message and my truth about helping and supporting and educating athletes in business, right? And I knew what he was supporting about was the medium for me to do that. But I didn't know that I was going to have to also have a podcast to do it. The difference is when the assignment showed up, I chose yes. And I took that assignment to make sure that I can come here and inspire, educate, and motivate you guys to your very next level. So look, I'm so happy that you're here with me for the 100th episode. And there's something special that I want to do. For the first 5 people that go and sign up for the NIL Level Up package, for the NIL Combine, I am going to give you a very special treat. You are going to meet with me one-on-one for 30 minutes. I never do this. So I never do this. If you want to meet with me, if you want to be one of those first 5s, then I want you to go to athletesmakingmoves.com/NIL Combine. When you click to register, make sure that you go and you get the NIL Level Up ticket so that you can meet with me and we can talk about what your fears are. We can talk about mindset issues. We can talk about your business and protecting your IP so that you can be definitely an athlete on the move. You see this here? This athlete is making moves, guys. So look, always a pleasure. I'm Sivonnia DeBarros, protector of athletes. Make sure that you go and subscribe on any podcast channel that you choose so that you never miss an episode. All right, talk to you later. Ciao.
Thanks for joining us this week on What Are You Sporting About podcast. Make sure to visit our website, prosportlawyer.com, where you can subscribe to the show in iTunes, Stitcher, or whatever your favorite platform is, so you'll never miss a show. And while you're at it, if you found value in the show, we'd appreciate a rating on iTunes or iHeartRadio. Or if you'd simply tell a friend about the show, that would help us out too. If you like the show, you might want to check out our book, What Are You Sporting About? Attorney Sivonnia DeBarros is available for private consulting at sldebarros.com. And remember, we're here to educate, support, and guide you in your journey to success because we're all sporting about something.